Hello everyone, and welcome to another YouTube collaboration with the creative design team, where this month we're actually concentrating on projects related to travel. That made me think of a project that I started a little while ago. I did a title page, and I will link to that video as well with that if you wanted to check that out, but I haven't touched it since. So I'm really pleased that that's the topic for this month because I'm going back into that project. I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes I start projects, I bundle everything up, I put them away, and then they stay there and I don't actually finish them off. So I'm really trying to attempt to finish off a lot of unfinished projects. As this is a YouTube collaboration, I will have a link to a playlist below for all the other creative design team videos, so you can check those out. So make sure you scroll through the description below so that you can find all of them. I know that I am going to be watching what everybody's doing to get some great ideas. You can see I've got a retired kit in front of me here from Close to My Heart. It's the World Is Yours Cut Above Layout kit, and it was designed for two 12 by 12 double page spreads. The project that I'm working on, however, is for an 8.5 by 11 inch book. So you can see this is the pattern paper here. I'm going to do this layout here, and I'm pretty much going to keep the same design concept with this, but my photos are a little bit different from this in orientation, so I'm playing around with that a little bit. And I needed to trim these papers down to get an 8.5 by 11. So as you can see, there's the 12 by 12. I've cut 1/2 inch off the top, 1/2 inch off the bottom, and I've come in just 1/4 inch at the side. I don't mind that the side's a little bit wider than the top and the bottom. And then I have trimmed this to 8.5 inches. I really wanted to keep the framing of this border so that it went all the way around my layout. So I really like how that looks. And when I was looking at these photos, there were a lot of little elements from the stickers and also from the die cut pieces. They're all labeled so that you can punch them out. And I think they work really, really well with these photos. I still have this other design to do, but just to show you what I mean with the layouts, you can see this is layout 1 die cuts and this is layout 1 stickers. So I've punched out and I've cut around my sticker sheets as well so that I can play around with. The backing is still on, but I like to be able to move them around. So by cutting them out, I can just play around with these to get this design to fit within my 8.5 by 11 page bases. I've already gone ahead and matted my photos with peach cardstock, and you'll see that I have changed this a little bit, and I've added another little journal box here. So this was a portrait style 2 photos, and I've made a square format, and this large one here I've just got a landscape type. I'm going to keep this off to the side so I can refer to it, but basically what I'm doing is building this up roughly the same as what they have here. I want to keep some of these splatters in, so I'm just going to move these around a little bit until I get what I want on my page. Some of these I may not use, so I'm just going through and I'm auditioning them and working out how my layout's going to appear on this page. And I've got these wood elements here that are to go to the sides and above and below these. So what I'm going to do is actually trim these so that they are exactly the same length. This one over on the left page, there aren't any stickers going over the top of this. So I'm just going to eyeball this and adhere that down and try and get it somewhat centered. As long as I don't push too hard, I'll be in business. This left side also has these little yachts on it, and that works quite well because this was a seaside holiday. So now I'm going to commit and put some of these down onto the layout. This one's going to pop out a little bit, so I'm actually going to chop this one in half so I can save the other piece for another project. So that one's going to go about here, and then I can adhere this sticker so that it looks like it's popping out of there. And when you're doing the hexagons, and any hexagons really, you want to make sure that your angles are all lining up with each other. Now my scooter's going to come in here, and if I put this piece directly on top here, I get an awkward white piece here. So as long as I'm keeping that flat line going along like that, I'm quite happy with this sticker coming in. But I think I will trim a little bit off so that it doesn't go over my friend's face. So I'm just going to square that off a little bit. Need to square off a little bit more. So this is where it's good to save the little carrier sheet bit, because then it doesn't get stuck to your trimmer. And I think what I might do with these hearts is trim the bottom piece off. I want to make sure I keep a straight line, because I don't have quite as much real estate as what I do in a 12 by 12 page to do this big cluster here, because I do want to put some journaling. This is our first day when we arrived and checked into our accommodation, which we absolutely loved. So I want to put a little bit of journaling on that. And then I'm going to trim the hearts off here as well, so that I can make this like another little piece of washi tape. And I think what I'm going to do is make this just a square. I love these little 3 hearts. They bring in the pink to this top corner up here. I quite like how that looks. And then I'm going to work on the placement on this side. So I've got some of these are stickers and some of these are die cuts. So I'm going to start committing to this and adhering all these pieces down. I need to put a couple of titles on this. I'm not going to use the going places. I had inked up some of the edges and I was going to show you how to do this one, but I'm saving this for another layout. I've got 2 hexagons here and I've got some more that I haven't used and these little arrows. So I'm putting that aside and I'm going to stamp my titles onto my layout itself. And I don't think I'm going to use this grey tag. There's not really a lot of grey here. There's a little bit here and here, but I'm just finding I've got a little bit more to say. So I'm going to draw some journal lines and I need to trim off these overhanging pieces. And you can just do that quite easily by flipping over and following along the edge of your cardstock. And my title that I'm going to put here, I'm going to use this prairie alphabet, and I think I might put Cafe Life. Now it's a bit scary sometimes when you go to put a title onto your layout. So sometimes I just take all the letters off and work out whether or not it is going to fit before I commit. I think I'll be able to get that there. So I'm just going to put all of these onto a block and get them stamped on. And I'm using pewter ink, and I hope I don't get my head in the way when I'm doing this. But I've got a little line to follow here. I do love having multiples of these little blocks, especially when I'm doing alphabet stamping, because then I can keep the repeating letters on a block. So I'm hardly pressing down at all when I'm using these. They're a very fine stamp, and if I press down too much, I will have the image smoosh out a little bit and it'll become a little bit blurry. So I'm just gently touching this to the cardstock. And then I'm going to do a little title on this one. And I'm actually going to work backwards with this one because I want my title to finish up against this little sticker strip here. So you can see for that one, I didn't even put the foam underneath, and it's fine. When it's such a fine stamp like this, you don't really need to put foam underneath it. So now all I need to do really is to add some journaling lines, and I'm just using my pewter journaling pen and just doing some lines across here. I don't even measure them terribly much. I like a general space between them, but it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. And I'm not actually pressing too hard as well with my pen. I don't need it to be a totally solid line because I am going to journal with this grey journaling pen, so I'm only going very, very lightly so it doesn't become too solid. If you want to line this up with your Versamat, you can, and you can make sure that you get all your little journal lines exactly the right space apart. So all that's left for me to do is do my journaling, and then I'll put some still shots up at the end of this video using a cut above kit and shrinking it down to the size that you want to make it for the project that you're working on. Does work quite well. And these are the pieces that are left over, so I can bring those in on another layout within this album, because this album is going to be all about this trip, so I can continue using these pieces. And the off-cut pieces I actually trimmed down to 1/4 inch pieces first, just so that I thought I could add a few little pieces around. But I've decided that this is where I want to stop with this. I might add some little dots or sequins around these just to dress it up a little bit more. So remember to click on the playlist below to check out all the other Creative Design Teams projects that are airing this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy crafting, and bye for now.